Alrighty guys, welcome back to another LEGO set review from BrickByBrick, and today we have set number 40291. This is Creative Personalities, and it contains 307 pieces, and this was exclusively available as a gift with purchase from the LEGO store and LEGO Shop at Home during the month of June 2018. And for a free set, it has a pretty good piece count and 2 minifigures. And, 307 pieces. It did have a relatively high spending threshold, which, had to spend $100 to get this. But I think it's pretty cool. And this set is kind of a celebration of Hans Christian Andersen, who was an author from Denmark, which is the same place that LEGO is from. Ooh, would you look at that? But before we look at the actual set, I did want to take a look at the instruction booklet, which, first off, the background here, like the design of this instruction booklet is pretty nice from the front. But this is the interesting part. We've got a bunch of little models that you could put in place of I'll tell you where you can put these. I'll show you on the actual model what you could do with these if you did build them. But it does note, and you should note, that models shown cannot be built with the included elements and are not separately available for sale. So, LEGO has kind of stopped putting like alternate build inspiration ideas on their boxes and instruction booklets, and I think the main reason for that was because people would complain that there weren't any instructions to build them. So I think that that's probably why this note exists. But we've got all sorts of little stories by Hans Christian Andersen, including the Snow Queen, Frozen, and the Ugly Duckling, which I think is his most well-known story. So personally, I think that they probably should have put this one in place of that, but there's some good little models here. But let's take a closer look at the actual build. Also, there are no ads in the back. It just ends with the parts list. So the actual model that you build here is an open book, and I think that they did a great job of making this thing look good as a book from this open angle. You'll notice that these kind of are just angled like so. They're on bar hinges, right? And they'll just fall down because gravity. As a result, it is possible to get the binding to not lie flat, and you kind of have to adjust that yourself to get them to both be at like equal angles. That does happen with real books though, so I don't want to fault this set for that flaw, because A, it's a minor flaw, and B, it's still kind of realistic. I like how they've done the corners with this light orangish yellow 2x2 corner tile. I think that that's good. I like the paging effect that they've got here. I think that it's good, and they've got the curves going towards the middle. I also especially like that they used inverted tiles here down the center to keep the color consistent. I think that that's good. From the back, real quick, you can't close this book up all the way, and there are some ugly pieces here. I don't know why they included those red studs. You could easily take those off. I don't think they add anything. These kind of do give it a little bit of a nicer look, these using the yellow plates instead of just leaving it black and brown there. So I appreciate this. Maybe they would have used them to cover these as well, but actually I don't think that would have worked because sizes of stuff and tolerances. But I also do like how they got this striping going on here. So I appreciate what they did here, but obviously since they couldn't cover all of it because it would have just used too many parts for something that you're not going to see most of the time, I think it's acceptable, but not perfect. As far as the actual inside of the book, you have this one printed 1x8 tile that says Hans Christian Andersen, and also uses a very similar design to what you see on the box with this little seal there. And you've got two 8x6, right? Yeah, 8x6 little vignettes almost. And this one over here depicts Hans Christian Andersen writing his fairy tale. Right, you got the little kid on the street. I kind of like the cobblestone road pattern they have here. The lamp is a little simplistic, but I think it works for the size of the set. And I do really like this bench. I don't know, I like the dark green color. And you got this Once Upon a Time printed 1x2 tile, which is relatively rare, having appeared in, I believe, 2 or 3 Disney sets. First came out in the Disney Castle. Take a closer look at the minifigure later, but, you know, that's that. And then you've got another 8x6 vignette page that depicts the Wild Swans. Not Hans Christian Andersen's most famous work, which is a little weird to me. I think that the two I'm most familiar with are The Ugly Duckling and The Little Mermaid. So, you know, it might have been a better idea to go with one of those, but I don't dislike this. I like that these are the first I've seen of the new 2018 Foliage pieces. You've got this new flower stem that attaches to the bar instead of a stud. And you've got this piece that has the leaf petals. So that's cool. I kind of like these new parts. It'll be interesting to see what gets done with them, but I think my favorite thing is that now you could stack multiple of these flower stems because, you know, there is the bar and the bar hole. So, you know, I think that will allow for some interesting foliage designs. These new flowers are good. The little fountain is a little weird with the ice cream cone sticking out. I'm not sure I get it, but maybe I'm not familiar with the Wild Swans. Maybe the fountains are an actual thing that's important. I don't know. This swan build here is okay. You can tell it's a swan, but, you know, it's not perfect. I maybe would have liked to see 1x1 plates instead of studs there, just because having it go from round back to square, you know, doesn't work perfectly for me. I appreciate the effort there, but I don't think it's perfect. I don't think it's the best swan they've ever done, because they've done a couple decent ones. It does get some use of those quarter round tiles and just some translate blue tiles, which are one of my favorite pieces. Yeah. So, you know, I think that this is alright, this is really good, and the actual book is fantastic. And the way these are attached, real quick, is the one last thing I want to show you. You have these large sections here, which are attached via hinges here, and you take them, you insert them in there, and you push them down, and these tiles lock them in to you know, into a very specific angle, so they are always flat when the well, they're flat in relation to, you know, the table. So like this, the water here is level with my table, and, you know, it counters the angle of the book perfectly. So I think that is a pretty cool and interesting technique, and not something that you see every day. Wow, I spent way more time talking about that build than I was expecting to, but we'll get done with the minifigures pretty quickly. There's nothing new to see here. They are standard prints, standard city faces. You got a top hat, and then this coal hair and orange. I like this torso for the kid. That was, I believe, first used in Fun in the Park. And then this suit is, you know, alright. They do both have back printing. It's kind of subtle here, but, you know, both cool. I don't know if the pretzel is supposed to be a meaningful accessory there, but, you know, it's kind of a cool thing to get. But obviously the highlight is the book, which I already showed you, and that can close while the figure is holding it, pretty much. Like, it can open and close, and the figure can hold it. He also gets this feather piece to represent a little quill for him to be writing with. Overall, I think that this is a pretty cool little set commemorating Hans Christian Andersen, which, you know, is a cool thing to have available. I don't think that, you know, it is the most desirable promo set of the year, but I think that it is a pretty solid one. I do think that, you know, I mean, we've had some great ones this year with both the Minifigure Factory and the 60 Years of the Brick set, which that one I think has to take the cake as the best one, but, you know, this is the second largest buildable one of the year, so, you know, I think that it's good. It's not disappointing, and I'm glad I got one. However, you know, I do wish that they'd made a little bit of a better choice as far as what fairy tale to depict on this other page here. But, you know, the actual book design I really, really like, and I think that this will make a very cool and interesting display piece. So, you know, I'm very happy to have it, and I think that, you know, I think that general LEGO collectors will appreciate it. The one thing that it doesn't have going for it is playability. I don't think kids will enjoy this very much, so, you know, it is a little bit boring in that regard, but, you know, most of these promo sets are for large spending thresholds that kids aren't going to go out and be spending, so, you know, I guess a bonus if you're a parent and you just bought a really expensive set for your kid, you could sell this and make some money back. And I would probably recommend that if you're not into LEGO yourself and you were looking into buying something for your kid and you got this, I'd probably recommend you know, selling it and buying something else with that money for your kid, because I think that they would get a little more value out of that. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little review, and I will see you guys all next time. Bye, everyone.